My sister-in-law is trying to claim my baby because she doesn't have any, so she was sent to a psychiatric hospital. Now she apologizes, but we refuse to let her see the kids. So I, 36F, have been married to my husband for 10 years. Ever since, I have felt some jealousy or resentment from his sister, 40F. She's always felt like I had the life she wanted, not necessarily with her brother, but the marriage, family, job stability, etc. I have 3 kids, 10F, 8M, and 3 months female. She got married last year, and they decided to start trying for a baby, but she was unfortunately told that she couldn't have children naturally. She was understandably devastated, and the family comforted her as best as we could. We recently had a family dinner, and in the middle of it, she said, I think it's really unfair that you got to have 3 kids, and I can't have any. Your baby is my last chance to raise a child, so I think you should give her to me during the week, so I can create a motherly bond with her, and you can have her on weekends." Before I could respond, the entire table erupted with everyone talking at once, so I took my older kids upstairs. When I got back to the dining room, her husband was asking what the hell was wrong with her, and why she would even think to ask that. She was trying to justify herself when I asked them to leave. I also said that she's no longer welcome at my house or around my children until she gets help. She started screaming that I didn't deserve my life or my children and that I stole her baby from her. Her husband and my mother-in-law kept apologizing and dragged her out of the house while she was still crying and screaming. Now, my kids want to know why their aunt wants to take the baby. Update 1. It's been a while, but here's the update. My sister-in-law had been admitted to a psychiatric facility. In the comments of my previous post, I mentioned that her husband was seeking out counseling for them to deal with infertility prior to this incident. After the incident, he sought out a psychiatrist rather than a counselor, and they had their first session last week. I didn't get the specifics of what happened, but basically, she made some statements that the psychiatrist felt indicated she was a danger to others like my baby and me, and so she was placed under an involuntary hold. My brother-in-law had been nothing but apologetic through this entire ordeal, and he kept her away from us since the incident. My mother-in-law was staying with them to keep an eye on my sister-in-law. She tried to leave the house in the middle of the night to see, quote-unquote, her baby. Also, my brother-in-law found her researching how to induce lactation, and she said it was to make sure she could feed the baby properly when I came to my senses and gave her up. From what my brother-in-law had said, seeing me breastfeed was apparently what triggered the entire episode. It was the first time my sister-in-law had been around the baby for any length of time, and she was holding her when she got fussy because she was hungry. Naturally, I took her to feed her, and this made my sister-in-law feel inadequate because it triggered the thought that she would never be able to do that, which led to the events of the last post. I'm grateful for all the advice that was offered in my last post, as some of it was really helpful. We won't be moving as it's not feasible for us at the moment, but we have taken extra steps with security both at home and at the kids' school and daycare. This whole thing is taking a toll on the family, but my in-laws are taking care of my sister-in-law, and my husband and I are focused on ensuring the safety of our immediate family and minimizing the effect on the kids as much as we can. Update 2. I've had a few messages asking how things are going, so I decided to update. I have not seen my sister-in-law since the incident happened, and I also blocked her on my socials. My in-laws have been amazing through this entire situation, and they are not sharing any information about our family with her. Unfortunately, she still remains fixated on my baby. She tried to find out where the daycare was and even threatened to hurt herself if my in-laws didn't tell her. This led to another stint in the psych ward. She wrote me a letter begging me to be fair and let her see her baby. I didn't actually receive the letter though. My mother-in-law read it and just gave us the gist of its contents. Sister-in-law's husband is working with her psychiatrist to see how best she can be helped, but he has said he doesn't know how long he can deal with this, but he's giving it 6 months. It was a very sad situation for her, and I had hoped she would be able to deal with whatever was happening. At this point, we're completely out of contact with her. We explained to our older kids that their aunt isn't well, so she won't be around anymore. We still see mother and father-in-law regularly, so I'm grateful we didn't have to cut them off. We spent the holidays with my family, and it was all very nice and uneventful. We're still on alert in case she escalates, but the hospital where she's warded isn't near us, and they don't live near us either. So we've accepted this as our new reality, and we're operating accordingly. Update 3. So a lot of people have been messaging and commenting, asking for an update. Firstly, my family and I are safe. My sister-in-law was eventually released from the hospital to continue outpatient treatment with a psychiatrist, and she's on some meds. My husband met up with her husband, mother-in-law, and father-in-law to get a feel of her mental state. She was very apologetic and seemed to understand the issue with her previous behavior. She asked to see the kids and me, but that was, of course, a no, and my husband let her know that she would have no access to us in the foreseeable future. Since she was discharged, my mother-in-law has been awesome about letting us know when she would be at their house so that we wouldn't run into her accidentally. My mother-in-law also told my husband a few days ago that my sister-in-law had been saying it's hard not being able to see the kids. She told him for information's sake and not to guilt him into changing our boundaries. My sister-in-law and her husband are looking into migrating to give her some distance in hopes that it will help her heal. I'm hoping for the best for their future, but it will be a future without my kids and me in it.